The front of the ship hits the shore, and the ship slowly lurches forward onto the beach until it stops. Anchors drop, the engine stops, and power is cut off. The journey is done. Today, ships have a life of 25 to 30 years. Nevertheless, earlier, wooden-hulled ships were simply set on fire or conveniently sunk. This procedure was no longer applicable with the advent of metal-hulled boats in the 19th century. As the ship recycling began to gain a negative image in developed world for its dangers to the workers and environment, it started to move towards the labor-intensive countries. Today, ship recycling in India has emerged as an activity of substantial volume. Started in the year 1982-83 with 5 ships and 0.24 lakh light displacement tonnage (LDT). In the year 2011-12, Alang handled highest 415 ships and 3.85 MLDT. Alang is a census town in Bhavnagar district of Gujarat. It is considered the world's largest graveyard of ships. The yards are located on the Gulf of Khambat, 50 kilometers southeast of Bhavnagar. Though commonly referred to as the Alang, success of the industry has resulted in extension towards northeastern side, that is Sosia. Since 2019 till March 31 this year, over 200 vessels were beached at the shipyard spread in over 10 kilometers coastline. Asia's largest well-established ship recycling yard, Alang, also has to its credit beaching and green ship recycling of the longest ship ever built, Seawise Giant, St. Mont, the largest crude oil tanker with 83,598 LDT in December 2009. Large super tankers, car ferries, container ships, and a dwindling number of ocean liners are beached during high tide. Every vessel goes through an official process and scrutiny before arriving at the shipyard. The ship owners have to submit specified documents to the Gujarat Maritime Board, the Port Authority (SPCB), and Customs Department for anchoring. Ship recycling yields primarily ferrous metals such as steel, but also non-ferrous metals such as aluminum, copper, and brass, as well as a variety of usable parts. Generally, at least 70% of the overall light displacement tonnage of a broken ship comprises of re-rollable scrap, while copper and copper alloys constitute a small proportion of the total weight of the metals recovered from a ship. They bring a large fraction of the revenue because of their high value.
मेरे ख्याल से भावनगर, गुजरात, सौराष्ट्र, काठियावाड़ भगवान की एक बहुत बड़ी देन है जो नेचुरल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर दिया। भावनगर से लेके जाफराबाद तक, मतलब यहाँ से 80, 90, 100 किलोमीटर का जो सी शोर है, इसमें ये जो अपना गल्फ ऑफ कैम्बे है, गल्फ ऑफ कैम्बे की एक बड़ी विशेषता है कि दुनिया सा बड़ा का बड़ा हैवी करंट, जिसको नॉटिकल माइल में नापा जाता है, 17 से अप नॉटिकल माइल का करंट है। इस करंट की वजह से बिगेस्ट शिप हम दरिया के किनारे ला सकते हैं। दूसरी बात, यहाँ का जो समुद्र है, लो टाइड, ड्यूरिंग द लो टाइड एंड ड्यूरिंग द हाई टाइड अपने को वर्किंग आवर्स ज़्यादा मिलता है। बिकॉज ऑफ यहाँ पे लो टाइड में पानी अपनी खुद जगह छोड़ के 1 या 1.5 किलोमीटर जगह छोड़ के पानी पीछे चला जाता है। यही खासियत है अलंग का दरिया की, इसलिए ये यार्ड डेवलप हुआ। और यहाँ पे जो अलंग में जो लेबर है अराउंड 5 या 6 स्टेट वाइज है। लेबरों का जो वेजीज तो बहुत अच्छी है वेजीज। यहाँ हर अनस्किल लेबर को मिनिमम 10,000 तो मिनिमम 10,000 से अबव ही है। स्किल लेबर जो ड्राइवर्स है, स्टाफ है, उनको 20,000 से लेकर 30,000 तक सैलरी मिलती है।
Many other items, such as crockery, furniture, and appliances used on the ship, are sold to the traders, who specifically deal in the products obtained from salvaged ships. These items are supplied in the market through the networks of wholesalers and retailers. Many fancy items, such as night lamps, showpieces, and crockery items, are much in demand. The refurbished furniture from the ships has a big market. One can see its presences in major cities sold as Alang furniture. INS Virat served our nation for 30 glorious years, and after decommissioning, she has moved towards her last journey for recycling at Alang. Scripting the history of supremacy, this heroic splendor is about to take its last rides at Alang dockyard. But every single part of the ship is attached to its captain with his unmatched and unforgettable sentiments towards it. INS Virat may die just another day, but for him, it will remain as unbroken by its spirit and glory. The Hong Kong International Convention for the Safe and Environmentally Sound Recycling of Ships of IMO, International Maritime Organization, which has been adopted in May 2009, and EU Ship Recycling Regulation number 1257/2013, with the aim to ensure that the process of ship recycling doesn't pose any risk to the human health and safety or to the environment. Of the 120 yards in Alang, about 90 till now have achieved HKC compliance certificates. 15 more are undergoing audit for certification. The governments of Japan and Gujarat have mutually agreed to upgrade the existing Alang shipyard. The two parties have signed a memorandum of understanding, which focuses on technology transfer and financial assistance from Japan to assist in the upgrading of operations at Alang to meet international standards. With its stringent safety practices and awareness program, the authorities adhere to regular trainings for the workers coming here from all over the country. To bring awareness among the labourers working in the yard, Gujarat Maritime Board (GMB) has developed a Safety Training and Labour Welfare Institute at Alang from 2003, where every person related to any type of work in Alang yard is given safety training by the qualified safety officers of GMB. Every person needs to have basic safety for all training of 6 days to work in Alang. These training are free of cost from GMB. More than 1.2 lakh workers are given safety trainings till date. Safety indicated banners and posters are affixed in the plots as well as at various places along the roads of the yard. Apart from this, other safety practices and facilities include dedicated 108 ambulance operational from January 2013. One mobile hospital with a doctor is operated by Ship Recycling Association. About 15,000 labours registered with ESIC and smart card to each labour to be issued by ESIC. To overcome the negative effects of ship breaking, green ship recycling has been introduced across the world. As per the standards of green ship recycling, the yards are designed with impermeable flooring, meeting all international standards.
The difference between a green yard and a non-green yard is basically when you are cutting the ship, you have to take care of about not only the safety of the workers but also the safety of the environment. So while cutting the ship, you have to make sure that the blocks are not falling in the intertidal zone. If they are falling in the intertidal zone, it has to be a clean block and it has to be lifted up or pulled before the water touches the block. So all of these, this is just one part of a huge regulation there is, but all of these compliances have to be met.
Some of the other key factors are a hazmat expert certified by Class NK as an HSE officer, separate infrastructure for dealing with hazardous materials and hazardous water disposal. Setup of an effluent treatment plant at Alang has further reinforced the green ship recycling efforts. The hazardous waste and other contaminated liquid waste are treated here before disposal to prevent any environmental damage and health hazards to the task force here. With such vast volume of waste to be disposed, there are various types of disposal facilities as per Lab Analysis and Hazardous Waste Management Rules 2016. The waste is categorized as landfill waste, solid waste. That includes glass wool, glass, ceramic, garbage, cooling powder, rusted iron, incinerable waste, solid waste such as puff, rubber, pooch, thermocol, oily rags, oily sludge, paint chips, contaminated sand, and bilge water, liquid waste, consists of ballast water. A multi-speciality hospital at Alang was inaugurated by Vijay Rupani, the Chief Minister of Gujarat. This hospital is set up by the Gujarat Maritime Board and will be operated by the Indian Red Cross Society. It serves as the immediate medical care facility for the workers and people in general. As of January 2020, India has a 30% share of ship breaking. Once India passes the planned Recycling of Ships Act 2019, which ratifies the Hong Kong International Convention, ships from the treaty nations of USA, Europe and Japan will begin arriving in India, thus doubling its global share of ship breaking to 60%. At the end of the operational life, the ship still represents a resource, as a considerable proportion of her lightweight tonnage is suited for reuse or recycling. Looking at them, one wonders about cargoes they had carried, ports where they had called, and crews that had sailed them. Sailing on the vast ocean, an infinite stretch of water, they move shore to shore. These water vehicles have their own stories, the chronicles of valor, endurance, labor, and luxury. Nevertheless, like any other story, their saga ends too. A teary-eyed goodbye, an emotional farewell, and these ships arrive at their last destination, the shipyards.